Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is in your hood. I am absolutely Adia.
I'm your girl, Ashley Nicole.
I am the franchise.
And this is Petrie.
And we are the Quad.
The Q.
So, very special topic today.
I'm telling y'all I don't want to be here, man.
Yeah,
It's a touchy situation, you
I'm
know.
Dressed
not
in all
touchy.
black like the Omen.
Right.
Have your friends singing this or something? We are talking about the miseducation of Kanye West.
Miseducation. I like how she
Kanye
did
too.
that.
Oh man.
Everybody knows. I think it's just gone. I wish there was a word that was greater than viral.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's
Yeah,
gone
it's-
so much further
You
than
gotta create a word that's bigger than viral.
than viral.
Right.
And I was excited because Charlemagne had been kind of prepping everybody for his interview over the past few weeks, you know, that it was coming and he was reserving his judgment because, and I didn't expect it to be almost 2 hours long. It was an hour and
interview.
45 minutes interview. And when it dropped, for those of you who don't know me on social media or on Facebook, Kanye West is like my best friend in my head. He's been my best friend in my head for the past, I don't know, 15 years. Even before he dropped his first album, I remember I have friends in Chicago and they was sending me like snippets and like underground music and spoken word. And I was just like, this dude, because I used to perform. In another lifetime, I performed spoken word. And I just felt like everything that he said just resonated with me on such a deep level. And graduation dropped during the year that I graduated.
Yeah.
And it felt like it got me through.
A lot of people say that.
A lot of
Got that
days I would play that song on my way to school loudly on the campus with all my windows down like at a PWI. Definitely feel like Kanye was so instrumental, and that's something that I've heard over this week that so many people felt personally hurt and felt personally affected by his statements because they felt such a deep connection with him and his music.
Listen, we gotta. No, serious. I don't want to cut you off. Because, because you're really.
We know how you feel.
You're building up, and I want to. I want to hear what the rest you got to say.
Well,
I want to hear the rest.
My other thing, like, somebody asked me, was it important? I had said something. I can't remember if it was on Facebook. Man, my phone's been blowing up over these past couple of weeks with people because they know I feel very strongly and I will ride for Ye when nobody else is riding for Ye. But I did meet him twice in my life. I dated a DJ that Consequences, old DJ, shout out to Boogie Black.
Black.
Shout out.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I have met Kanye before. And somebody asked me, was that important or was it relevant? And I think it is because a lot of times we make celebrities out to be whoever we want them to be in our head.
Right.
And I remember before I met Beyonce, I never really cared for her. I liked her music, but I was never like the Beehive.
Right, the Beehive.
And
Bayhive.
I
Get it
remember
right.
that.
Bayhive.
Oh, the Bayhive?
I'm down
It's
with
the
the
Bayhive? It's not the Beehive?
The Bayhive.
Are you sure?
Get it, Bayhive.
Facebook, is
I
it
didn't
the
know it was- I didn't
Bayhive
know it
or
was Bayhive.
Beehive? I thought it was Beehive.
like
Well, they
Beyonce,
they
the
changed
Bayhive.
it to it
Oh, you
was
talking about
whatever.
B-E-Y?
B-E-Y.
Yeah.
Baywhy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm gonna say it's
to each his
Beehive.
own. To each his
But,
own.
I'm just want to say I'm down with the Bayhive after Baychella.
But
Right.
She's a great performer.
But
Speaking of Baychella, shout out to my boy Teron Wade, but we'll get to that on another day. Kanye.
Well, I was just saying, like meeting people in person really humanizes them.
Right.
She didn't have on makeup. Like she was auditioning. This was at the time I was in Houston, interning at Rap-A-Lot, and she was auditioning for the all-girl tour where she had the all-girl band and dancers and all that stuff. Yeah.
Dope.
And it was just really quick. But I think, we don't think of them as ever just having human moments. I think over the past couple of years, she's been a lot more accessible to the media. But at that time, you would never see her just out, you know, like out and about or out without her whole
done up
self, you know. But so I think meeting people in person or even just having a feel for them gives you a different perspective. And so many people felt affected by Kanye's statements because they felt like it was a betrayal. But I think that we've progressively seen his growth over the years, even through his music. I mean, the Kanye from The Life of Pablo is definitely not college dropout Kanye.
Right.
And even that, The Life of Pablo Kanye isn't 808s and Heartbreaks Kanye. So if we're looking at it from that perspective, as an artist, you are going to grow. You meet different people, you experience different things, your music is going to be different. His music has been very different.
Always different.
Every album.
Yeah.
And I think it's unfair for us to hold people to our own personal standards and feelings and say, but I love college dropout Kanye was my Kanye.
Right.
So I don't ever want him to be
like the old Kanye.
Right. Yeah.
That's what people do.
Another
They'll bring up the
Kanye.
old Kanye.
Yeah, bring that back.
Yeah. And I've fallen victim to that, but not necessarily fallen victim to that, but having that type of thinking. Because at the time, I really has never been a great big Kanye fan. Because when I first heard about Kanye, it was through the beats. So that's kind of what I tapped into. This dude is a beat maker, you know what I mean? And then when he started rapping, I was like, okay, well, yeah, he could rap too. So a couple of different songs he was on, a couple of appearances. I was like, oh yeah, this dude, you know, he's kind of dope. But I could never really take like a whole album of just Kanye. That's just my personal. I just can't take a whole album of Kanye West. So I never really followed all of his albums and his growth. So what I hear right now, like what I listen to right now, is all of the beats that he made for like Cameron and Jay-Z and stuff like that's the Kanye
and it's
that I love.
Such a track record. It's so many. There's a listing I have of all of the people that he's worked with. He's worked with people in every genre over the past 10 years that so many people don't know. But, you know, it's only social media is kind of on the wave where if it's something that pops up in your timeline, or we'll read the headline and not the whole story.
The meme. We'll see the meme.
Right, the meme.
We'll see the meme.
Or we'll watch a clip and not the whole, the full clip.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the TMZ clip that I think was so dangerous is that, first of all, I hate that it dropped the same day that a Charlemagne interview dropped, because the Charlemagne interview was introspective. He gave you so many answers to questions that people have had over the past few years. Situation with Jay, why they didn't come to the wedding. And it's crazy because everybody speculated and ran with the story that, Beyonce don't like him or whatever. And then when he explained that part, and that was like during the time when they was going through their whole marriage situation, then that's like, it's a whole nother, level of, this man about to lose his wife. So, but I think one of the biggest issues, and y'all can say how y'all feel about it, is
we will.
We pick and choose from things that happen, like how it affects us and what we run with on the narrative as a whole. And I think it's problematic for us as a people.
It is problematic. And like you said, people pick and choose what they want to look at, and without going back and seeing the history of how he has come, he's changing. Yes, he has multiple life situations that probably has impacted him to even go into a broader thinking about where we are as a people. A lot of people touch on his mental health. They want to use that as an excuse for him, flipping out or really just speaking. Everybody speaks their own opinion. This is how he views things. You have to respect the man. He would just like he apologized to the guy on TMZ for being Van. He felt disrespected, and that part of Kanye, I was like, wow, he's humble enough. He's not wearing that big head to say, hey, dude, you know what? You my brother. I'm sorry about that. But he he still, owned what he felt at that moment. And people overlook that. You got to own what you feel.
Well,
you got to own it.
It's easy to overlook because they didn't release the clip.
Right.
And that was the thing that I had the issue with. Yeah, they released the clip. So you saw the 2 clips that the first day. You saw the clip of him saying 400 years of slavery, that short clip was a choice. And then you saw the clip of Van's response to him. But then they waited 2 days till it went super viral. I don't know. We still need a term for past viral.
Past viral.
To release the full clip in the whole interview.
Yeah.
And once you see that, even if you still don't agree, because I'm not saying that I agree with everything that he says, but I respect his platform and that he has an opinion. Now, I know, did you want to say something?
Yeah. Like the thing that I saw with it was that the slavery comment was him trying to prove his point in the rest of that interview, that the media is trying to manipulate people. They're trying to make people hate each other. And when we should be listening to each other instead of the people with money and the people in the media, and listening to each other with love, and then we could work everything out, And then he throws the slavery comment out there, and that's the one thing, that they push forward.
Right.
When he had this whole other message for the whole rest of the interview.
Because it was the most controversial, and they
Right.
knew that people were going to pick up on that.
Yeah, that was his
and
point,
take it
and they did it.
And run with it. I'm gonna have to get off of Facebook Live because I wanted to quote. One of my friends made a really good quote about the breakdown. Because the whole debate this week I've seen on my timeline is about, was slavery a choice, not a choice,
if slavery
kind of
was
a choice,
right?
And the hashtag, and all the memes,
mad memes.
And out of everything he said on the interviews, that is the one thing that people are running with. And it said that it's breaking us down as a people, because people are really like going head to head with each other right now, especially on social media, having full blown arguments. You got people that.
So was slavery a choice?
Right. Was it a choice to you?
But see, this is the thing. When you talk about asking the question, like, was slavery a choice? Like, are you asking me, was it a choice for Black people to be enslaved, or was it a choice that they had to remain enslaved?
See, that was the point, because he said 400 years, which I don't even think it was 400 years. I think the timing is inaccurate. But the point that he was making was not the initial enslavement was a choice. Of course, that's not. But that after so much time that mentally they chose to stay in
bondage.
Yeah, but see, and that's why I disagree with it, because you have, you have, when you talk about mental warfare, mental slavery,
there's so many things that they did to keep them in mental slavery.
Right. And when you're in that type of bondage, when you're in any type of bondage, you don't understand choice. That's
especially
all you know.
if you're born a slave.
That's why, and see, that's the thing. That's another difference, because you got people who came over, or who were brought over and forced into slavery, and all over the world. We don't have to just talk about the transatlantic, but you have people that were forced into slavery. Like one day they were not slaves, and one day they were. And then you have people, generations that passed, that were born into this situation, in this system. So you have the person that is born into it. That's all they know. All they know is, if somebody says the wrong thing, they get hung on a tree. If I can't read a book, I'm restricted from education. I'm restricted from looking at somebody in the eye. I'm restricted. Like, this is the world that we live in. Right. You know what I'm saying? And to have that be put out there right now in a world that we don't live in anymore, I don't think that it's a smart thing to do. I don't think it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, he should have worded that a little bit different, as far as slavery being a choice.
Or what he really meant by that.
Yeah, it's a touchy topic. I mean, but I don't want to get full blown, but I really.
That's the point of the episode.
It really
let it out.
Get full blown.
It really took me to a whole. I ain't even finished watching the whole episodes, because I think that episode. I mean, I think that the full with Charlemagne, when that was kind of constructed, it wasn't. He didn't challenge him enough, really. To be honest with you, he didn't challenge him enough. he was just kind of being buddy, friendly with him.
Challenge him how? Like what question did you not hear that you
I really did.
I can't.
I mean, it's sort of like it was constructed. Like it wasn't like the TMZ interview where it was free. You know, like it wasn't confrontational, but he looked uncomfortable. And he was reacting. Interview? Yeah, he looked uncomfortable, and he was reacting in an uncomfortable manner. And that's when you really see somebody when they're uncomfortable in a certain environment. And he was just like telling so much information that like people don't need to know that you taking these certain type of drugs, bro, or these certain type of things. And then I don't think, to be honest with you, it's a publicity stunt, in my opinion. Because the dude is not mentally ill. He's not crazy, even though they say that he checked in the hospital in 2016.
I think he got something going on.
But but it's probably an emotional thing. It's not a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? But him to go take medicine or stuff like that, because when the guy talked to him, when Van talked to him, he sat there quiet, listened to him, and respected him, and came up to him after that and was like, yo, I really respect, I'm sorry that I felt this way. I respect, your opinion. We brothers, we should be coming at each other with love. So with somebody with a mental issue that can't keep still.
Mental illness doesn't mean that you're not able to function in social settings.
No, he's that type of person that he's like, like that Tupac, that Kendrick Lamar. You can't tell me nothing. You can't hold me back. That type of guy who's, you can't tell me what to do or you can't control me. Like, he really sat there and really listened to that man and really gave him gratitude when Van took him to task. And I really appreciate the way he did that when Kanye did that. And I was like, it's not something that really wrong with Kanye. Everybody's trying to play out to be. Kanye, I still love Kanye, and I'm not emo. I was just kind of like, man, why did you have to say it like that? You could have. I understand where you was coming from as far as it being a choice. Like you do.
I don't.
I mean, like, no.
But
I mean,
even when
to the certain degree, when he said, like, I understand that you had that choice to rebel, because we had over 250.
There's always choices.
We had
choices.
Yeah, we had that choice to rebel out of that situation, or you had another choice to die from that situation.
Right.
Well, that was what I posted on Instagram, that
and I totally
when
agree
Black
with you
Panther came out, and Killmonger said, bury me in the ocean. Y'all was quoting that shit and posting that and making memes, and everybody thought that was great. To me, it's the same thing. It's saying that's the give me liberty or give me death. It's the same thing. Right. Granted, he said it in a different way, and I think the verbiage impacted people. But, I mean, that's the same quote. And I do believe so. That was my initial argument as far as was slavery a choice, not the initial enslavement, but the mentality of, because let's be clear, we all know there were several slave revolts that were
over 250.
And that's the thing, that we know that there were revolts, so it's not like throughout the whole history.
That everybody was about.
Everybody's like, cool, I'll just be like
but
this.
we also know that even after Juneteenth, there was several hundreds of slaves that stayed and went back because that was what they knew.
Yeah.
They were afraid.
That slavery thing is just a little touchy, man. And I'm not really trying to bring it up with Kanye. I'm like, he doesn't know enough.
His mama was a professor of Black history.
I don't. For him to say something like, I wouldn't say that slavery was a choice though. If he know, if that, I don't, something like that. If you know, I wouldn't say that at all. Like it wasn't a choice.
So for me,
but I understood where he was coming from.
Having the conversation and opening the dialogue with my kids and with my daughters, because this is what we always do, regardless of what we're listening to or what we hear, always opens up a dialogue about, the background of it, how I feel about it, how they should think about it. And as a free thinker, how they're allowed to feel and process that information.
Right.
And so my oldest daughter is 14. And so we were talking about it on her way to school. And she was just, had the initial impact of, how could he say that? And I said, well, is suicide a choice? Because if that's your option, a lot of slaves didn't make it through the Middle Passage because they chose that road. If that's a choice, technically, even though that people don't like to hear that, that doesn't sound fair to a lot of people, but the reality is that is a choice.
Yeah,
not saying that, of course, most sane people will choose to live regardless to how hard the situation is. Right. And then that brings in other choices, because I've seen people that said, but if you have a family and if you have kids, and of course, suicide is not optimal, right. But what was the movie with Oprah where she killed the kids?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
To get out of slavery. Oh shoot. I need my phone. I need my phone. Facebook.
I think that
Beloved. Was that Beloved?
I don't know.
I don't really follow.
Except for the Color Purple.
Okay, Color Purple. That was where I stopped.
I'm gonna need y'all to do better with y'all black movie.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh wait, A Wrinkle in Time. Now
we got the people watching. we have viewers watching live on Facebook for this first segment. Hey, so I want to acknowledge. A couple of my followers are watching. My cousin JD. He says, Kanye is the guy. Kanye is the guy that is outspoken towards anybody he sees fit to be verbal towards. His downfall is that most critics are deeply in tune on how his opinion is brutal yet is desperate and needs to be analyzed. And then another says, that Kanye is basically a musical genius. Mm-hmm. His character is just despicable.
Well, I wouldn't say his character, but here's the thing about black people. Which I think goes back to slavery.
Yeah.
We have been conditioned on so many levels to feel like we have to agree as a general consensus in order for us to follow each other.
Right.
And that goes into where we talk about new age black leaders, like one of the past episodes, talking about having new black leaders and people stepping up. Well, there's nobody that everybody is rallying behind. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of people doing a lot of different things, but there's Malcolm X or Martin Luther King.
Shout out to you, Shay.
We haven't all agreed or whatever that this is the person that we're all going to follow. And I think that plays into it when we get into these arguments and conversations and we have these viral clips where we're only taking a fragment. And that was something that I impressed upon everybody that texted me, that called me. I'm like, my phone was blowing up.
Because you're a big supporter.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, go watch the full interviews. Like it was 2 interviews. Watch the whole thing before you take a stance, because I think we watch and we joke about how other races stick together,
right?
But it's even more evident now because in less than 24 hours, in less than an hour,
right,
there were memes, the hashtag,
and he lost like 10 million views, 10 million followers and stuff like that.
The hashtag, if slavery was a choice, and we making jokes, and that's why I salute T.I. so much, because he is willing to have the uncomfortable conversation and say, I'm not just gonna throw you under the bus, because I've heard even Van Lathan, the person that went viral in the clip from TMZ, the black guy that works at TMZ, he has a podcast I think called The Red Pill or something like that, and he did an episode on the whole situation and how he feels about Kanye, and he basically said F Kanye, he ain't fooling with him no more, and he gave all of his reasons why.
Yeah, that's too far.
I saw people saying they hope he died, and I was just like,
burning his
so
sneakers.
we ready to kill
No, I'm not going to buy a CD.
But George Zimmerman is still out here living his best life.
Walking around for
like it's so many people. R. Kelly's still out here.
Oh my goodness!
Skeeting on everything.
Right. See, and this is the thing. This is the problem that I have with our people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it has everything to do. It's just the fact that we exalt these celebrities so damn much. You know what I'm saying? Like Kanye West is a musical genius. That's his lane. That's what he do. So to me, this motherfucker
public
is not
speaking
like
is not.
Yeah, he's not a public speaker. This motherfucker didn't go through rigorous education.
You
know what I mean? He didn't go through any kind of rigorous education. He's not a researcher, nothing like that. So why is it that we take something that he says and say,
and make it right? That's my thing. I mean, come on, y'all.
Disrespect.
Right.
But
the first time,
fucking entertainer.
The first time you remember him public speaking was the George Bush doesn't care about black people. Right. So he's had a history of
just
public
sporadic
speaking
conversations,
right? Faux pas.
But this is the thing though, and I do believe that something's going on with the brother. I think because he's not. You can see it in his music.
I don't want to dive into comparison. throwing conspiracy pool.
No, but I wouldn't agree. Too. If you saw the Charlamagne interview,
I did see it.
That's the most sane he's ever been.
But like he said,
but
it was scripted.
It was scripted. I mean, it was comfortable.
I don't think it was scripted.
No, it was scripted to the point where. No, listen.
It was, bro. I mean,
these motherfuckers ain't listening to me, Quad. They ain't listening to me, man.
It was planned. I don't want to talk over you. I'm
about to bogart up in here. But no. What I'm saying is scripted in the sense that there was a conversation prior to, and Charlamagne and whoever else produced that wanted to make sure that they gave Kanye a platform to talk. Yeah, and I'm saying that's scripted in that way, not in a negative way, but in that way.
Yeah, but not like scripted answers.
No. Just make sure that he get out what he needed to get out.
Right.
So the people see his view, and that's okay. But my problem is, again, this motherfucker is not a Dr. Cornel West. He's not a Michael Eric Dice.
I would agree.
He's not one of these guys. So why?
But some people don't follow them either.
Right. True.
But why do we put so much stock in what he says versus those people?
But that's what I'm saying. And so when he says something outlandish, which he has a history of,
I don't think we should do both. I don't think like as far as like with Dr. West and Kanye West, I don't think we should put stock in both. Like I mean, highly like that. I mean, we should be a unified bunch.
I agree. But this is my point though. If Cornel West started making beats. You know what I'm saying? If Kanye West started making beats,
what about Tupac though,
what the fuck is this dude doing? Man, stick to what you.
What about Tupac?
I'm sorry.
What about Tupac?
I mean, stick to
Tupac,
what you do well.
Tupac were kind
These
of
niggas
like
ain't listening to me, man. I'm just saying they ain't listening. I'm talking to y'all. They ain't listening. It's all right though.
Show my life some love. Speak volumes, Nicole.
No, I hear what you're saying. I most definitely do. But you keep saying that you not. What about Tupac though? We really took Tupac. What he said was very strongly. And then and then what you said on Instagram.
Tupac was
him and Tupac are kind of somewhat the same people.
I wouldn't make that stretch. I think as far as being outspoken, him and Tupac have never been afraid to say what they felt. Mm-hmm. I would agree there, and that's where I would leave it. As far as Tupac lived his actions on a whole nother level. Mm-hmm. Yay.
I mean, when that college dropout came out, he was pro-black.
He was in the mountains.
Yeah. I would say he puts it in his music. I would say that he puts it more in his music than a Tupac that really was like live, breathe, walk, talk, whole different level away.
I mean, what he put on Instagram about when he was talking about the slave master name and stuff like that, you don't think that's kind of Tupac-ish, or he has some type of background or information from that? I'm like, come on, man.
No, but I'm saying though, okay, so
I took that when I first heard that. I took that like,
but that's not the same. That's not the same dude though.
I see what you. It's not. You absolutely.
And that's why I say I really believe if you really look at, I mean, you know, he has a lot going on in his life. He's going through some things. He's going a lot. You know, he lost his mom, and I think that has something to do with some of the effects of the things that we're seeing. The substance abuse, I think that has an effect. I think that a lot of the pressures that comes with being who he is as an entertainer, Lord. You know what I'm saying, has an effect. and then see, everybody understates this, and I'm gonna say it. You know, he's on some Kanye Kardashian shit right now. I'm serious. He's on some Kanye Kardashian.
If you want to go conspiracy, we going conspiracy?
No, I'm just saying, but he doing lipo and all this other type of shit.
I would love to go conspiracy.
No, because he was living. Hold on.
That's some Kanye Kardashian shit.
The fuck on.
Come on, man.
Kanye was living.
Something wrong with Kanye, bro.
No, let me just say this though, and this again goes back to what I said about black people on social media and how we are so quick to attack people. Mm-hmm. Kanye was minding his business, taking his medication, hadn't been on social media, hadn't been doing anything. Kanye surfaced happy, smiling in pictures, and had gained weight.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they tore his ass up.
Yeah, okay.
That comes with
and
the territory
I understand.
Of being a celebrity.
Well, I'm not saying that it doesn't, but what I'm saying is, no matter what he does, the man was just out in public living. And it was like, oh, Kanye got fat. Look at Kanye. Kanye got man breasts. Kanye got... And it was just like the pressure mentally on somebody that you all are saying is mentally unstable.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Right. So, okay. So and that's what I'm saying. And that's the unfortunate thing about it.
And then he really took that serious. And then he said something in the TMZ episode about him doing liposuction.
Yeah, he said that. And I'm like, why? And I'm saying, like, and again, that to me, that's some Kanye Kardashian shit. Because he's in that. I'm saying he's there now.
It's off. He's really off.
And it's unfortunate.
And I'm when I saw the TMZ episode, I was really like about to like, oh my God, bro, come on.
Meanwhile, I'm worried about why he charging that much for that shirt. But anyway.
And them sneakers. Shit, I could never do it.
Well, I guess this is a good point to take a break.
Nah, man,
I want to talk about everything. No. I don't like to be honest with you, when he was talking,
have a drink.
When he was talking to,
I think we've been drinking too much, just like y'all niggas don't want to take a break.
All right, Chris, we gonna let you say what you did say, and then we gonna end it.
It's a lot of things I just didn't like. I guess I'm still looking at the college dropout, the late registration, and I'm like Dia said, I'm still taking that.
When he was in his music.
Yeah, I'm still taking.
He's still in his music. Life of Pablo is one of the most
the beats were amazing,
congealed albums that dropped that nobody expected, because that Kanye was just like this, where everybody was like not knowing what to expect, how it was going to come out, what it was going to sound like. Oh, what? One of your followers got it.
Said my cousin said, I think he playing house nigga like a undercover Black Panther.
No, I wouldn't say all that. I wouldn't say all that.
And how many other people is shucking and jiving for their corporate situation?
He's shucking and jiving in the fashion industry. He's shucking and jiving.
But it's a lot of people that are. It's a lot of people that are in their everyday life that's going into these corporate situations. But hold on. And this is where we get to where. Let's take a break.
He has too much power to be like, oh, Nike, please do this for me.
After the break,
please do this for me.
We will be right back. I'm throwing the flag. Spider, cut their mics off. I'm going to do a Kanye. I'm about to throw the mic through the window.
You don't have all the answers, dear.
You got the answers. We'll be right back. This is The Quad.